Okay folks, so I'm going to do part 2 of raising guinea fowl. There's only once that I have brought them in the house to get old enough and to get enough good warm feathers. When it was cool out, that's when I first got my first guinea fowl ever, okay? So I had ordered 18. There was a little issue getting them, right? So for my trouble, they sent me 10 extra, so I ended up getting 28. And it was a cool, rainy, early summer, and it definitely wasn't warm enough, and I did not have a chicken, because I didn't have my ducks or geese back then. I didn't have a chicken that was willing to take them over. So I made a little brooder pen, brought them inside, and had a fire going right into July, folks, right? Yeah, that was not pleasant to sleep in. But let me tell you something about guinea fowl keats. Even when they are very small, just a few days old, they are noisy, folks. They are noisy. And I had them inside the house with the fire going for 3 weeks. And I didn't sleep very well for 3 weeks, okay? Mind you, my house is 20 by 24. And it didn't matter if I had them in the back corner in the other room. They were just so noisy, folks. So guinea fowl are noisy all in itself. That's a big complaint for a lot of folks who have guinea fowl or are around guinea fowl. They are a very noisy bird, okay? So if you brood them in your house with some sort of heat lamp or something, just be careful of the heat lamp, right? Just expect that they are going to be noisy. They are noisy 24/7, folks. Now, when they're kind of like juvenile age, from the keat stage up to juvenile stage, it always amazed me how guinea fowl did not get laryngitis, because they never shut up, folks. They are the most annoying bird if you are not used to them. So that drove me crazy. That's why I will not raise them. If something happened to all my guinea fowl and I had to start over from babies, I would not do it. I just wouldn't do it again, folks. So as they mature and they find their way, they're getting their feathers and their horns haven't started yet, they'll kind of find their way. Now, if I had, one year I had 300 guinea keats hatch, folks. Seriously, right? You talk about a noisy yard. This how you couldn't look in my yard without seeing movement, right? So when they're really young, they'll follow their mother and father around. But as they get to about juvenile stage, they'll all come together and form one big group, one big mass, folks. And then they get to their breeding stage, which is usually the next year, right? The next spring. And then basically they're adults by then, so they're forming, they're finding their own mate, and they're laying eggs and so on and so forth, right? The whole cycle. So if you let your guinea fowl free range, at first they'll kind of stay in the immediate area, folks. But as they free range a little bit longer, they'll kind of move away. They'll come back at night mostly, all right? But they will wander, folks. Now, this is the first year that I've had them way out by the main road, and there's four pair, sometimes 6 pair, that like to go way out by the main road, folks. And they are not scared of vehicles. They will challenge a vehicle. They will run and charge a vehicle, okay? So you want to be careful of that, because if you live close to a main road, um, they might get hit. I know of somebody that had Guinea fowl, and every single one of them got hit because they live too close to the main road. Okay, because they'll stand right there and watch the vehicle come and think they're bigger than the vehicle, and the vehicle is going to stop. That doesn't work that way, folks. So, but they usually come back into the yard, you know, as it gets closer to late afternoon. They'll come back to the yard, and if you are lucky, they'll go in the coop and on their roost. But a lot of times they'll find a pine tree, a spruce tree, a hemlock tree or something, and they prefer to roost high in the tree. Well, that's all well and good unless you've got predators, right? Because guinea fowl are, like I said, they just can't keep their mouth shut. They always have to be yakking, right? They always have to be sassing. So when they get up and roost in the tree, they don't stop, folks. It's dark, middle of the night, and they're up there yakking, and you know, the predators hone right in on that, right? A bobcat will climb a tree. I've had a bobcat take a few out. Owls, we have a lot of great horned owls here, and what the owl does is it'll come close to the tree and it'll flush the guinea down to the ground, or they'll fly blind in the dark, and a lot of them have hit my house, right? That's never good in the middle of the night. But usually they'll fly until they run into something, or fly until they land on the ground, and then they're blind, right? Because they don't see very well in the dark whatsoever. Well, a bobcat can see in the dark, and so can't a great horned owl, and they get picked off that way, all right? So what they will do is they will get up in the tree, and they will call every predator to them. They will. So guinea fowl eggs are a porous egg. They're small, and they're kind of tapered. It's like a small chicken egg, but boy, they're so rich, and they're my favorite egg to eat here, folks, is the guinea fowl egg. They're also my favorite bird to eat because they're so delicious. It's all dark meat, and the breast on a guinea fowl is bigger than what you would think. So one guinea fowl, they have two breasts, right? And you cut them up into steaks about a third of an inch thick, and you put them on a medium-sized grill, and it'll cover the whole grate, 2 guinea breasts, right? So there's a lot of meat on a guinea fowl for as small as they are. Now I had a guinea fowl that was a little bit bigger than the rest, and when I culled it and I processed it, I took the breast meat off, and I took the legs off, and they're a pretty lean bird. They're not as lean as a Muscovy duck, but they're pretty lean, folks. Now, I want to caution you about raising guinea fowl from Keats. Now, what I have here is the regular water bucket. I think it's 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons it holds, right? It's a bird waterer, or a farm pail. And if you have babies, whether it's baby chickens, guinea fowl, even baby ducks, okay, because the baby ducks, before they get their feathers, will float for a little bit, but they can't float for long, right? Those feathers get wet and drenched, and they'll sink, right? So when you have baby birds, when I have baby birds, I take all my 1-2 pail waterers, and I take them right. They're no longer in use when I have babies, because what will happen is a guinea fowl, for example, will get up on top of that bucket lip, and if they fall in, guinea fowl do not swim, right? They don't swim, so they will drown. A new baby duck will do the same thing. If it goes in there and it gets in the water and cannot get out, it will drown. A chicken will definitely drown. Okay, so if you are going to use anything that's more than 3 inches deep, or even at 3 inches deep, especially with guinea fowl, because they're so small, right? What I do is put some clean rocks in there, or sometimes I'll take a board and put it on top, so if they get in there, they can climb up on the rocks and get out, or climb up on that board, which will float. Even though it's saturated, it will float, and they can get out that way. Whether they live or not, because they got wet, I do not know, but I have not had any drown here because I do that trick. Now, a lot of people, they have found a lot of their baby ducks, chickens, and guinea in the water pail where they went in and could not get out and they drowned. So, you know, if you're smart, that'll only happen once, right? So make sure that you use low waterers, even if you have to keep filling them up. Those that the bottom comes out and it has a dome, and sometimes they make them so you can hang them. That's even better because it only allows like a ½ inch of water to come out at a time, and they cannot get in there and bathe, right, or drown, right? So just be mindful of that. Remember that guinea fowl are very fragile. They cannot get wet and they cannot get cold. They will die, all right? I can't stress that enough. Try to keep them as dry as you can. Now, another thing about raising different birds in the yard, what I have found here is if you raise chickens and you raise guinea fowl and you have a rooster, everybody knows rooster, right? Yeah, everybody knows rooster. So a male guinea fowl I have never seen take after one of my chickens, my hens. But my rooster, don't care if it's a chicken or if it's a duck or if it's a female guinea fowl. All right. Now you can cross a chicken and a guinea fowl, folks, and it's called a gin, Guin. All right, and they sometimes will look more like a chicken, sometimes they'll look more like a guinea fowl, or it's like a combination of both, right? Maybe you'll have one that looks like a chicken but behaves like a guinea fowl, and vice versa. All right, so that combination, they will hatch, but they won't. They just won't have fertile eggs. They'll still lay eggs, right? So that can happen, folks. So you can be mindful of that. I guess that's it as far as guinea fowl. The meat is very, very good, folks. And what I do is I either smoke my guinea fowl, and sometimes I'll smoke them and can them. Sometimes I'll smoke them and eat them. A lot of times I'll eat a guinea fowl fresh. I'll just do a guinea fowl in, and one person will get one breast, another person will get another breast, or I'll make a soup out of it, or whatnot. But most of the time, they go into jars here. So guinea fowl jerky I have not made. I heard it's spectacular. I will try it at some point. All right, so that's going to be a decision that you're going to make if you free range or keep them penned up in a run. Guinea fowl like their freedom. They're not a domesticated bird as far as like chickens. Chickens are pretty domesticated. Guinea fowl, they're not really domesticated. They don't like to be picked up. They don't like to be touched. So it's pretty hard to train a guinea fowl, folks. But I think that's all I've got to say. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. And that's all I've got to say about the guinea fowl. If I lost all my guinea fowl today, I'm not so sure that I would. Excuse me. I'm not so sure that I would get more, even though they're very even though they're very comical. They're very comical, folks. They crack me up more than any other bird here. And guinea fowl will get up on top of your vehicles, and they will get up on top of your roof, folks, okay? Now, I've had, I don't know how many guinea fowl I've had up on my roof at one time, folks, but they'll just run back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and guinea fowl are just being guinea fowl. So they will get up on top of your vehicles, they will get up on top of the coop roofs, and they will get up onto your house or somebody else's house, all right? So just be mindful of that. A lot of people think that's the coolest thing. Well, I did it first, but then I got tired of that real fast, folks, all right? So there you have it.